Today I'm going to show you how to hollow out eggs so that you can use them for Easter decorations. The materials that you're going to need for this project are raw eggs. It doesn't matter what quality they are, just depends maybe on the size. A bucket. Now normally if I was doing this, I would make sure that the bucket is food safe so that I could then use the egg yolks afterwards. You just want to make sure it's deep enough that you'll be able to hollow out several eggs. Then you need a pin. So a pin or a thumbtack or something that is quite small to hollow out, a straw, and some wire. This wire is handy when you need to break the yolk of the egg. It also helps if you don't have something longer like the pin to use. Depending on your straw, I like to just get rid of this bent part on it. So that's the first part I'm going to cut. So you are going to, with your thumbtack, the top part of the egg, you need to make a little hole. Now you need to do this really gently because you don't want to crack the egg. If you want to make a mark at the top of your egg and at the bottom of the egg, you can, to make sure that you're marking them in the center. So what I do is I just slowly start to wiggle and twist the thumbtack because you want it to crack through the egg without it cracking the whole yolk. So this part you have to be patient with. Just try and wiggle it through to make a hole. So you can hopefully see there how I'm starting to make a hole. So I'm going really nice and gently. Just push through nice and gently. Now, if you're worried about this cracking, one thing that you can do, and I'm going to show you that, is get a little bit of tape and you can put a tiny bit of tape over where you want to make the hole. Because you're going to need to make a hole at the top and the bottom because you're going to blow from one end and it'll come out the other end. So this is the top here. So the only thing the tape does is it helps hold the egg together and stop it cracking. There we go. Okay. Sometimes you might find, I think that might have been a little bit blunt, so it just depends what you've got. Now, so I've got a hole on both ends. You want to make one of the holes a little bit bigger. So I'm just wiggling this around. You want a hole in the top for the purposes of my egg painting design. I want the hole in the top to be slightly bigger because that is where I'm going to put the little attachment that you're going to have your loop string on. So we're going to make this hole a bit bigger. So if you didn't have like a long pin like this, you could use a little bit of wire. And one method that some people recommend is sort of popping the wire in and wiggling it all the way around like this, because you're trying to break up all of the egg yolk and everything inside. So wiggling it around and sort of shaking it up. You can put your fingers on top if you want to be careful about that. You can see here it's starting to come out. So on the smallest hole, okay, put your straw against it and then blow. And you'll see there, it's starting to come out. Now at this stage, generally what I do is I use the yolk and get it all out, and you just need to keep blowing. These bits of gloopy bits. Very scientific term. But what you sometimes need to do is you just kind of, get in there and shake it a little bit more. You're trying to agitate it so that any of the thicker parts, see the thicker parts of the yolk, they're not stopping anything coming out. Just make sure that you don't get any egg near the top of this. If you're doing this with kids, what I recommend is putting a bit of tape or something at the end that you're blowing through so that you never mix up the two ends of the straws. You can see there some of the yellow of the egg is coming out, and if you see there, see the way it's more mucousy, it's thicker, so you want to get rid of that because that's going to stop anything else coming out. So what you might need to do at this point is get a cloth. Remember, it's just eggs, you can use any kind of cloth, but I don't know if you can see there, see the way that it's thicker. So that's going to block the airway. So just keep an eye on that. And you're going to need to kind of clear the airways. And that's brilliant. You see how all that's coming out? When you shake the egg, you'll be able to hear and feel the liquid inside, and you know your egg is empty when you shake and you can't hear that liquid glug. You can't hear the egg yolk and egg white inside your egg. And now I can feel the egg is lighter, and I can't hear any of that liquid sound. Now obviously you're not gonna be able to hear it on the video, but you'll be able to tell that your egg is empty. So now that you have both of your eggs blown out, what you need to do to make sure that they last year after year and they don't get smelly, you wash them very gently, just with a damp cloth on the outside to get all of this egg part off. And then what I do is lay them on a baking tray in your oven and put them on a very low heat for about 5 or 10 minutes. So similar to when you are sterilizing jars for making jam or chutneys. So lay them on the tray. So do all of the eggs first, lay them on the tray and put them on a very low heat. So I'm talking like, 50, 75 degrees Celsius for about 10 minutes, and it'll dry out the inside of the egg, and it just means that they'll last us for years once you clean them out. So that's how you blow out your eggs.